Good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about the chapter Biological Classification, which is chapter number 2 of class 11th NCRT. So, in this series, we are going to talk about all the preparation notes and every kind of requirement that you will have for your preparation for Neet. So, let's just not waste more time and let's dive into the topic of taxonomy. What exactly is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the study or the science of studying naming of the organism. When we are talking about taxonomy, we have four different steps that we have to follow for, you can say, achieving the taxonomy of the organism. First, we have collection, then we have identification, then we have nomenclature, then we have classification. What exactly are all of these things? We'll go into the detail of it. Let's go for the collection. Collection is first we have to collect the species. Let's say we have found a new species of, let's say, cat. We find the species and we collect it according to the specimen. We call it as a reference. Details regarding the specimen, the reference cat that we have found shall be noted, such as collector name. Let's say you have, let's say a student name Rajesh has found the new species of cat. So the collector name Rajesh will be noted down, and the similar family name. Let's say the cat family. We have the reference cat that we have, and then we have a cat family which is similar to it. What exactly is family? We'll get back to it later on. And local name for reference. Let's say the species name of that cat is something in the local language. So we write it down for reference later on, so we can come back to it later on. The first step, collection, is very small. We have to just collect the specimen. Then the second step is identification. We try to identify the species. Let's say we have found the cat. So we know the cat is there. So according to our own knowledge, we resemble it with the already known species. We know it is a cat, but it is a new species of cat. So we try to resemble it. Then we have nomenclature. Nomenclature, we have some specific notes for what nomenclature is. The scientist Gospert Bohen gave the original idea of nomenclature in 1623, but Carolus Linnaeus 1737. We have to just see the name Carolus Linnaeus because it will come again once more and more times later on. Carolus Linnaeus made the concept of nomenclature famous with his book named Philosophiae Botanica. We have different organizations that deal with different organism nomenclature. Later on, we are going to study about different kind of organism that we have: bacteria, protista, and then we have fungi, then plantae, and then animalia. These different kind of organisms are given the names, and their nomenclature is done in a different way by different organizations. First, we have International Code for Nomenclature of Algae, Fungi, and Plants. This organization deals with the nomenclature and the naming of algae, fungi, and plants. You might be thinking, sir, algae comes in plants only, but we are going to dive into that later on. International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. The short form of it is ICBN. Later on, the name changed to International Code for Nomenclature. So ICN or ICBN, if you see in the MCQ, both of them are the same. It's just the name was changed to ICN later on. Then this International Code for Botanical Nomenclature deals with all the plants naming. And then we have International Code for Zoological Nomenclature, ICZN. It deals with all the animals and the naming of the animals. Then we have International Code of Virus Classification and Nomenclature. The abbreviation of it is ICVCN. So when we are talking about viruses, what exactly are viruses? We will get back to it in the last part of the chapter, because there is a debate going on whether viruses should be considered as living organism, or you can say the dead organism. So we will get back to that later on. Then we have International Code of Nomenclature of Prokaryotes, the ICNP. Prokaryotes, what exactly are prokaryotes and what are eukaryotes? I think you might have a bit of idea of it, but in the later on classes, we'll get back to it also. Classification, the last point, as we were talking about the four steps that we talked about: collection, identification, nomenclature. All three of them have been completed till now. What exactly is classification? We'll get into it. The concept of binomial classification and the binomial nomenclature was provided by Carolus Linnaeus. As we have already, I have already told you, Carolus Linnaeus. This name, get used to it because it is going to come back again and again. In this classification, we have two components. First is the genus name, and then the second is specific epithet. Sometimes instead of specific epithet, we also just easily say it species. So you can get it as specific epithet or species name as well. But together, the genus name plus specific epithet, we call it as species name. Let's say we have the genus name Mangifera, then we have the specific epithet Indica. Together we call it as Mangifera indica, which is the scientific name for mango. You'll get more examples of it later on as well. So how the genus name and the species name that we have Mangifera and Indica. You must be thinking, what is this language Mangifera indica? This is not English. So we have, when we are talking about scientific naming of the organisms, the genus name and the species name, it is all done in Latin language. Latin language is one of the language which has you can say kind of extinct now. It is not you can say usually used nowadays, but for all the scientific naming of the organism, we still use the Latin language. When we are typing the species name, we have to write the species name in italic format. You can say a bit of slant. But when we are we have the handwritten species name, it is underlined separately. The genus name is separately underlined. The species name is separately underlined. When we are talking about how to differentiate this genus name and species name, the first alphabet of the genus is always in capital, and the first alphabet of species name is always in small. What exactly is tautonyms? When we are talking about, we already talked about ICZN and ICBN. There are different rules to giving the name of the species. ICZN except tautonyms. What exactly are tautonyms? Tautonyms is the concept where the genus name and the species name, both of them are same. Like in the name Rattus rattus or Naja naja. So ICZN accept tautonyms, but International Code for Botanical Nomenclature or International Code for Nomenclature does not accept tautonyms. But instead of tautonyms, we have paratautonyms in botany. So botany International Code for Nomenclature allows paratautonyms which has similar genus name and similar specific epithet, such as Cajanus cajan, which is the scientific name of pigeon pea. When we are talking about the authorship, let's say some scientists, as we have already talked about Carolus Linnaeus, if he has found out a species Mangifera indica, which is the mango, and he wants to take credit of the, you can say, the let's say species name, so he can always add his Mangifera indica and later on add his name Lin at the end. Sometimes instead of Lin, just L would be written on, depending upon where exactly he reported his discovery of mango. So we have talked about binomial nomenclature method. Then we have trinomial nomenclature. Huxley and Strickland gave the concept of trinomial nomenclature. It comprises of genus name, species name, and subspecies name. As I have already told you about what exactly is species and genus. So when we are talking about genus, right, and species, there will come a topic called taxonomical hierarchy. This is what we are going to discuss about in the next class. What exactly is taxonomical hierarchy? So it is different categories. Let's say we have organism, let's say Homo sapien. Homo sapien is the scientific name for us humans. So it is the genus name and it is the specific epithet or the species name, let's say. So these are the lower categories of what the taxonomical hierarchy is. We know humans come in the kingdom, animals, we are animals. So the kingdom is Animalia, kingdom. Then we have smaller categories going on. After kingdom, we have phylum. Then we have, let's say, you can say class, then family, then order. Then we have more categories, subcategories that we are going to discuss in the later on classes. So there is a taxonomical hierarchy which is going on. So after the species name, we can add the subspecies name as well, which is included in the trinomial nomenclature. That includes Homo sapien, sapien. So we have the species name sapien, or the specific epithet, and then we have subspecies name also as sapien. So we can have the same name of specific epithet and the subspecies. So that is perfectly fine. And also we have already talked about, as humans come in the animal kingdom, and it is dealt with ICZN. So tautonyms are also accepted. So it is not a problem that we have the same species name and the subspecies name. What exactly are the different types of classification? Right now we talked about the rules of the classification, that one was binomial nomenclature method and second was trinomial nomenclature. But how exactly we classify the different organism, what are the characteristics that we are going to consider? First one is artificial classification, which was again given by the famously known Carolus Linnaeus after observing stamens. Stamen is the male reproductive part of the plant. Stamen. Yes, stamen is the male and the carpel is the female reproductive part of the plant. Based upon few easily observable character. Artificial, we are going to observe the few of the characters that we can observe, such as number of stamen that are present. One, if the stamen is one, monoandria. Two stamen, then diandria. Three stamen, then polyandria. Second classification method is natural classification, which is based upon physiology and anatomy. If you are going to ask me what exactly is physiology and anatomy, you can say the anatomy is what is present on the outside. All right. So anatomy is what you see, and that is actually morphology. Anatomy is how exactly the body is from the inside, and the physiology how exactly it is arranged. So there is going to be more detail about it, what exactly is physiology and anatomy, and we are going to get into that later on. But natural classification was given by Bentham and Hooker. It considers more amount of characters. Then we have phylogenetic classification. When you are talking about phylogenetic, you can see the word genetic. You can understand how exactly genetics comes into the role. Genetics, when we are talking about genetics, it includes the DNA, and you can correlate it with ancestry. Which ancestors we had as humans. Then it is based upon evolutionary relationship. Let's say there is a statement that we see that humans were derived, or you can say evolved from, a lot of people say monkeys, but rather than, you can say there is a category, there is organism which is are chimpanzees, and then we have humans. Instead of saying humans evolved from monkeys or chimpanzees, we can say chimpanzees and humans had one common ancestor. So that common ancestor now is extinct, and the sublineage of the species, chimpanzees and humans, have evolved separately, and humans are now a different species and chimpanzees are a different species. So this is phylogenetic classification, which decides which species is given to is separate from each other. Chimpanzees are different species, humans are different species, but they were related as the common ancestor was same. Then we have phonetic classification, reporting what is seen. So what are the characters that you easily observe? Based on all observable character, we utilize numerical taxonomy. What exactly is numerical taxonomy? It is a kind of a taxonomy where we give a number to character. Let's say we have 5 characters that are same, and then we have 7 characters which are not same. So we are going to give weightage to let's say equal characters. Let's say we have I'll take an example. We have cat, and then we have lion, and then we have dog. So let's say cat and lion have amount of character which are 7, which are common, but dogs and cat and lion have 3 common characters. So more weightage is given to let's say cat and lion. They will be put into same category, and dogs will be put into a different category. But there can be a problem which can arise, is that the characters that we are utilizing, let's say cat and lion have instead cat and dog and lion, we have the and let's say 8 common characters come between cat and dog, and cat and lion 5 characters come which are common. What exactly are the characters that we are considering? It does not matter to numerical taxonomy. It can reject those 5 common characters. As we all know, cat and lion are much more related than cat and dog. So it is going to accept these 8 common characters because they are more in number. 8 is more than 5. So it is going to accept more characters instead of more important characters. So this is what is the you can say problems with numerical taxonomy. But phonetic classification, it is based upon numerical taxonomy, hence it is not much more preferred. Then we have APG classification, angiosperm phylogeny group system. APG classification, this is the classification which is mostly used for angiosperm, and it comprises only of the molecular data which is present for angiosperms only. So today we discussed about how exactly taxonomy works. There are 4 components: collection, identification, nomenclature, classification. Collection we talked about it. We have to collect the species, give some details about us. Then we have to identify it. Then we have nomenclature. In the nomenclature we have different organization which deal with nomenclature of different organism: ICBN, ICZN, ICVCN, and ICNP. Then we have classification, binomial classification. Then we have trinomial classification. Then we talked about what kind of different types of classification which are present: artificial classification, natural classification, phylogenetic classification, phonetic classification, APG classification. One more point that I forgot to tell you all about, which exactly which particular classification is most preferred in today's science. It is the phylogenetic classification, because we have to consider which organism was evolved from which particular organism or which particular ancestor. This is very much you can say important in the today's scientific world. So in the next class we are going to talk about attempts done for classification, which includes the attempt done by the scientist Aristotle, which is the father of biology and father of zoology as well. Aristotle attempt. Then we have attempt of Ernst Haeckel. Then we have Copeland. Then we have R.H. Whittaker. Spelling might be wrong of R.H. Whittaker, but the scientist name is correct. Then we have the last one, Carl Woese, for the 6 kingdom classification, which exactly Aristotle, it was related to 2 kingdom classification. It is related to 3 kingdom classification. Then we have 4 kingdom, 5 kingdom classification. Then we have Carl Woese with the 6 kingdom classification and the 3 domain system. We are going to talk about all of this in the next class. So stay tuned, and if you feel like I have been able to help you out, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification, as it is going to help you and me. I don't know if it will help me or not. I want to make sure that it does help you, because all of the lectures that I am going to provide, it is going to be available on YouTube. Thank you so much. Bye.